What's up, Walking Dead friends and family? This is Brian Castro here with another review for Fear the Walking Dead. This is Season 6, Episode 11, The Holding. And let's get right down to it. I mean, this was a crazy, weird, wild episode. I was getting definitely some Madison Clark vibes. There was some callbacks to some moments. Crazy group, but yeah. So our group that's in there, we got Althea, we got Wes, we got Alicia and Luciana, and they're introduced to a new character named Riley, and he's taken through the compound and it's all underground, and they're telling him how they take the walkers, or they're calling them posters, which is kind of odd. I don't really quite understand that. Even Althea said posters. We're gonna come back to that, but why do you think they're called posters? I was going through Urban Dictionary, trying to come up with some things, maybe naval language, and I'm of course former Navy, but I just could not come up with something that I could correlate to what was going on in that episode. But anyways, they're talking about how, what do you see? Because Riley is interviewing them, and he's asking them, what do you see? I guess. And over the intercom, you also hear Teddy. He's talking and kind of brain. You could tell everybody's brainwashed and talking about the end as the beginning. And he's asking them, what do you see? He wants to see where their mindset is, and he's asking them questions. And they all, looks like our group. They all lost a brother. Of course, Alicia lost Nick. And Wes, as we know throughout his story on Fear the Walking Dead, he lost his brother Derek. And so, it comes to, then finally, we think that they're getting all in line for Teddy to come through. At least that's what they tell him. And then Derek walks through the door, and you knew it was his brother, because Wes is his eyes are welling up, he's beginning to cry, and then they notice each other, but something is not right with Derek, and they all bring him to this walker, and this is the walker that we see in the promos. A lot of people thought resembled Madison because of the coat, the hair, but each one of them go in front of that, and they're asking, what do you see? And they're trying to get them to see that, because you got the ivy and the vines going around the walker that's tied to that, and they're just trying to get them to see that death is a new beginning. But so we're starting to get more vibe. They're walking through the compound, they're interviewing them, and just things are not right. You get a little more conversation with Derek and Wes, but Althea, she mentions to Wes, like, do you know where your brother stays, where his bunk is at? And they go through his room, and they find this can of condensed milk, which tipped off Wes, because he had mentioned when he had left, back when Wes thought he was dead, he went to go get milk for his coffee, and he found a milk can, and in that milk can was CRM locations, and you'll notice in the cards it'll say A and B, because I guess they had locations that they were picking up who they felt was an A or a B, which is kind of interesting, getting more close to the CRM stuff. But there's also was logs of all these places that were targets, including Tanktown, and they figure out that Derek was behind, or at least involved with killing everybody, and later on you see Derek and Wes have a conversation, and they figure out that Wes figures out that Derek did know that he was there, and one of the things that in this conversation, because he met him at where he's painting, you see an oil rig, and you see, I think, one of Ginny's locations. One of the things that Derek said that immediately kind of tipped me off that something is not right here is, he said, we have to start over, and we can't do that until everyone and everything is gone. So immediately I'm going back to that nuclear sub that we saw, that we know Morgan has the key for, and clearly they're gonna kill everybody up on top side, because they had mentioned that they were planning on closing the doors, and keeping everybody down below. But that was, just wild to me. And Derek kept asking Wes, because, well, Wes brought up Morgan, and that, of course, turned a switch in Wes's head, or not Wes's head, but Derek's head. And he kept, pumping Wes for information, like, where is Morgan? And so they're going back and forth, and Wes finally convinced them, just come with us, you can leave. And then, for a moment there, I thought that Derek was going to come through, and because he was clearly brainwashed, but then he mentions, like, if they catch me leaving, they're going to kill me, they're going to kill all of you. And he seemed like he was pretty scared. So they go down into the elevator, and they're going downstairs, and you see Alicia. She's eyeing him. She does not trust Derek at all. And finally, she's asking him, she was asking him questions, because she does not trust him. But as they get to the bottom, she elbows him right in the face and takes his gun. And then, of course, Riley and his crew are there, and they have them all locked up. And then they're going to take, and they bring him back to this room, and we're finding this is where we're embalming people, and they were planning on doing this to Wes first. They grabbed him first, but then Derek comes through, and they bring him back to that walker that was tied up to that pole earlier that I mentioned, and Wes, or Derek's trying to get out of his brother Wes, to see this end is the beginning mythology and everything that they believe. And one of the things that Wes says, he's like, I see someone that isn't that same someone, who's really just dead inside, just like this walker. And Derek's like, that's how I felt first. He's like, I wasn't talking about me. And then, Derek immediately knows that it's about him. Wes looks, and he sees the gun. He goes to grab it out of Derek's, and they're struggling. You see Derek's trying to push the gun up to Wes, but he finally, gets a control of him and pushes him back into that walker, who takes a big chunk out of his shoulder, which kind of reminded me, brought back that moment where T-Dog got bit in the shoulder on the back, just gruesome, when he was, protecting Carol. But really gruesome. Then he had to put down his own brother, which is really sad. And then, of course, Riley, back in that other group, they hear it, but then Wes they go back up, or no, I'm sorry, but Wes comes back in, and he has the gun, and he grabs Riley as prisoner and says, this isn't going to happen. But one of the things that I want everybody to pay attention to is watch how everybody is holding their gun. Now you would think in the apocalypse, there's going to be, some people who know how to use a gun. You got Rick Grimes, you had John Dory, people who have used a gun and know how to hold a gun proper. But everybody, that whole team, was really trained. Like there was a lot of, and I'm by no means a gun expert, but there was no sloppy handling of the gun. These people were up, holding the gun properly, as someone who is a police or perhaps military police, which was making me wonder, were these people, or at least the core of these people, were they part of that submarine? Were they possibly, military police, master at arms? Because they or at least some of them, because they definitely had proper training in gun handling. Just something that kind of interests me. But, so everybody leaves, and they come in, they come to this other room, and they knock down the door, and they leave, that group back there, but they wedge an axe underneath the door, and when they turn around, there's all these walkers, or as they called them, posters. Again, what is the deal with posters? I don't get that. But they're in this. You got all these walkers that are kind of tied up to the top. You see their mouths sewn shut, and you can tell they've all been embalmed. Which this is some crazy shit that's going on. But they're walking through, and that door is trying to. They're trying to like knock it down. All of Riley's guys, and they're coming through, and then as they come through, we see a CRM soldier, like, and of course, that gets Althea's attention. She goes and checks it out. The music is really tense. She had to, lift it up, and she sees that it wasn't Beer Lady, and she stabs him. But they're learning that one of the things that Althea did mention is that embalming fluid was flammable. And you see the embalming fluid going underneath the door, and then Alicia, she's cutting all these walkers left and right, letting all the, the embalming fluid come out, and then she's telling Wes and everybody, Luciana, Althea, to go, I got this, I'm gonna be right with you, and you see that scene from the trailer where she's just dropping that light, that match, and everything just engulfs in flame. It was just such an epic scene. So they all get away, but Alicia does not. She gets captured, and we see her with Riley and one of the other guys that was in there, and she leaves him in the room. Riley leaves him in the room with that other guy, and orders him to basically embalm her to kill Alicia. And Alicia's such a badass, and she's proven how she is a capable leader. She's amazing, just like her mom. And there was a lot of things that made me think of Madison again, just in this fight scene. You see, as he's coming to her, he says, we can make this go a lot quicker. Just get on the table. Like, Alicia's going to do that. Come on now. But she has a knife that she's been holding, and she goes right for his eye. Reminded me of the time when Madison took that spoon and got right in Troy's eye back in season 3, I believe. So they're fighting, and then eventually, and really amazing fight scene, well choreographed, amazing scene. But she eventually takes the embalming spike and sticks it into his neck and kills him that way. Finally, we see Riley and Teddy. We finally meet Teddy, this guy who gives you kind of Charles Manson vibes, and he tells Riley to just go. I'm going to take care of this. And one of the things that so she's talking to Teddy, and they're going back and forth, and one of the things he says to her is like, what's bothering you, but he mentions that perhaps you're following in the footsteps of your mother. Again, a callback to when Madison gave her life for Alicia and everybody else, and it was kind of insinuated even by Riley earlier that her death, because I believe that Madison is still out there and we're going to find her, but Madison's death was Alicia's new beginning, and they're going back and forth, and Alicia's just not buying the shit. I believe she even said, son, we're not buying the shit you're selling. And he shows how he's pissed off that she ruined all this work that he's done for years. And I'm wondering, like, if you, again, back to when I was talking about how they're holding the guns, and I'm looking at hairstyles of these guys, and I'm looking at these people in there. I'm wondering if some of these people that are hanging like that were some of the actual crew of this submarine that has a possible nuke. And there's a scene that where Morgantown is, and funniest thing of the whole episode, you see Dakota, and she's like, I want to help. And then Morgan's like, no. No one is really putting up with their shit. But there's an interesting conversation with Althea and Dwight, because he of course knows Beer Lady, and and he sees the CRM location. These are locations that the CRM was going to visit, but now Althea knows all the drop points because they're listed on those cards that she has, and I think her and Dwight are going to go looking for her, but we know that Morgan has this key that he got from after killing those two guys, but he didn't know who it was, and there was nobody else with those two guys. But one thing that we do find out is that everybody there knows, well, not everybody, but the main people know who Morgan is, and they're looking for Morgan, most likely because of that key. But how do they know Morgan? If he killed those two guys, who is there? How? I'm a little confused by that, but I think more will come in the next episode or two. But then it goes back to Teddy and Alicia. You get a little more back and forth, and that's how the episode ends. But yeah, I want to hear what you guys think. What did you think of this episode? Why do you think how do they know that Morgan has this key? That they don't mention the key, but why are they looking for Morgan? How do they even know Morgan would have this key? Where do you think we're gonna go with the CRM? Are we gonna see? Are we gonna see them again? How is Dakota wanting to help? But yeah, let me know what you guys thought. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love for you to follow. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. And as always, I love to give shout outs to my friends with their businesses, their pages and everything. And this one is going out to a dear friend of mine. Her name is Vanessa Williamson. She is the owner of Rendezvous Hair Salon. And I can tell you from personal experience, she is phenomenal. This is in Columbus, Ohio. So if you're ever in Columbus, Ohio, or if you're from Columbus, Ohio, you got to check her out. Her salon used to be on High Street, but now it's moved to Summit Street. And I've seen the photos on her Facebook page, Rendezvous's Facebook page. There's also an Instagram page, and all those links I'm going to make sure that they're in the video description. But yeah, some of the things they do, there's haircuts of all type. You got blow dry and style, updos, deep conditioning treatments, hair color, dimensional highlights, block coloring, solid coloring, bailage, foil stage panels, fantasy color, everything in between. You got manicure, gel X nail extensions, luminary, Brazilian blowouts, tape and hair 2 extensions, and I guess they have hand tied extensions that are coming soon. I'm telling you, the talent, when you see the talent, and I check out the Instagram page, the pictures are phenomenal. If you want your hair to look amazing, go check her out. Again, the links are going to be in there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me comments down below, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. Love you guys.